Hey, I'm Carolyn from Coworkly, Ottawa's productivity hub for remote workers. I'm the community manager over at the Westboro location. I'm launching a little mini-series of video calls with my colleague Kaylee, who runs our Vanya location. Together, she and I are going to be chatting about topics that relate to our roles as community managers and what it's like to work out of a co-working space. So to kick off our project, we wanted to first discuss what it's been like working at Coworkly since the pandemic hit. So let's jump on our Zoom call with Kaylee now. She and I both have very interesting perspectives, as I was hired 6 months prior to the pandemic and she was hired right in the middle of it. Let's get chatting.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Can you hear me
Great.
with my headphones?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff.
Sorry that I was late. I just had a tour.
That is okay. That's part of the job, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we have great lighting. Excellent.
Yes, we do. I love the background with the plant.
Oh, thank you. I made the vacant office look nice just for you.
Amazing.
Okay. Cheers
All
to
right.
us and our little video.
Cheers.
We'll save our gossiping for after.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much for doing this call with me.
Of course.
What you can't see in this room is I've got like little Post-it notes everywhere to stay on topic.
Love it. I love it.
On the table. All right. So our topic we're going to jump in today, this is our very first one. We're going to be talking about what it has been like hiring you in the middle of a pandemic and what it's been like for me being hired 6 months before, and then all of us just trying to learn to deal with everything as we go. So before diving in, just to put everything into context, we are coming out of, well, very soon we're going to be coming out of a province-wide lockdown. This is our second one. It hasn't been as intense as the one in March, but still, you got to see what it was like being in lockdown during the pandemic. So let's jump back over to you. This is Kaylee, our community manager in Vanier. Can you tell us, Kaylee, like a little bit about yourself, and then let us know when you got started with us?
Yes, so I am the community manager at Coworkly Vanier. I got started with Coworkly in July 2020, right at the end, in the middle of the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, I was serving and I was a barista. I worked 2 jobs. And then obviously with the pandemic, I got laid off both of those jobs. So like the rest of the world, I was unemployed and I was seeking employment for the beginning of the pandemic. Because I knew that in the service industry that it wasn't super viable to continue at that time. So I was seeking employment via LinkedIn, which is how I found out about working at Coworkly. So I got hired end of July 2020, mid-pandemic. It was wild.
And you and I have really similar backgrounds. I'm from a restaurant as well. I feel like I'm really lucky that I got out of the service industry at the right time. And then catching you, that was I'm glad we both found this position at pretty much the right time that we needed to.
Yeah.
Your LinkedIn story, let's talk about that, because most of our videos ended up getting posted on LinkedIn anyway. So let's talk about how we scooped you up from LinkedIn.
Yes. So essentially, prior to the pandemic, I've had LinkedIn since I was in university as a tool for networking, but I hadn't really, I've updated it about every year, but I wasn't super active on it. And in early March 2020, prior to lockdown, I received a message, a direct message in LinkedIn from the CEO of Coworkly, Mayor, basically saying that he found me on LinkedIn and he was looking for a community manager for Coworkly. And he was interested in me because I had customer service background. So at that time, when I received that message, I already had 2 jobs. So I read the message and I was like, this seems really interesting, but I have no idea what co-working is. I've never heard of this before because, as we know, Ottawa is more of a government town and we're kind of behind on the times.
That'll be our next topic.
Yes. So I was kind of like, I don't know, I'm pretty comfortable with my jobs right now. I'm making good money. Like, I was kind of not jumping at the opportunity, but I did message him back and I said, like, this sounds pretty interesting. And I asked him a few more questions about the role because I was interested. I just wasn't sure if I was ready to make a jump from my job to a new job. I don't know if I was in the right mind frame. And then after we went back and forth a bit, Ontario went into lockdown. So that was the farthest thing from my mind. I was like, oh man, I'm unemployed and the world is crazy. So I kind of honestly kind of forgot about it. And I was searching for a job with the government. And that was kind of my mindset. I was like tunnel vision, trying to find a steady job.
Mhm.
And then randomly, I remembered this conversation I had on LinkedIn. So I went back through my LinkedIn direct messages and I found it. And I was like, how could I forget about this opportunity? It was like a couple months later. So I messaged him back and I said, hey, you still need a manager? And he's like, actually, yes, I do. So within a couple of days, I had went back and forth with Mayor over email, and it was kind of cool the way that I was hired, because he did something that I've never done before. Was he asked me to do kind of a video introduction of myself, like a pre-interview step, which was really cool because I'm really passionate about making videos. And I thought that was an awesome way to kind of screen applicants for him, especially in the midst of a pandemic. You don't want to meet up with someone if you don't know if they're serious or if they're capable of doing a task without needing to ask a million questions about how to complete it. So that was super fun for me. I made a video about a minute long, kind of introducing myself and what I was looking for in a job. And then after that, I had an interview where I met you, Carolyn. And
I thought that was really cool that I could be your interview.
Yes. And it was great because I kind of got to bounce back and forth with you. And we talked about our previous experience working in the hospitality industry. And I kind of asked you about the job, and it was great to meet someone who was in the role that I was going to be in. So that was awesome. And then within a week of reaching out to him on LinkedIn, I had a job, and I'm still here. And I love it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, everything happened really fast with me too, getting hired as well. I had to do the video, and I'm a very shy person. Like, I'm shaking now doing this video with just you. But when I was asked to do that video, I was like, oh my God, can I do this? And I did. Ended up getting the job and was interviewed by actually some members at Vanier, because we didn't have another community manager to.
That's so cool. I love that.
Interview. Yeah, I got to meet Jevin and another woman named Julie, who you haven't met because she's left for the pandemic. But
yeah, so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's just like a really interesting way to get hired here.
Yes.
And like, I
very
really
unique.
Never saw any benefit from LinkedIn before working here. Like, now I know how to use it as a tool. It's part of like how we look at potential clients and find people like you. We were actually looking for a clone of me from day one. Mayor was always asking me, like, do you know anybody, any friends, anyone that you can scoop from the restaurant to take along with us? Because we have 2 locations and we need 2 people just like us. So
yes,
yeah,
worked out perfectly.
So my next question has to do with what you felt like when you came to work here, because it is in the middle of a pandemic. We had hired a girl, we offered her the job, and she turned it down. I think it was probably due to fear of maybe leaving the house. Just everyone right now is very nervous about getting out. And did you feel nervous at first, or were you like, get me out of my house?
Yeah.
Get this job. I want this career.
Yes, I personally was very ready to get out of my little bubble of being at home every single day. It was kind of weird at first talking to other humans, like strangers, but it was great because I was at the point in July, we were pretty far into the lockdown, where I just needed a change. And also it just felt so right as a turning point in my career to switch to this career. And I just felt everything fell into place and it was kind of meant to be. And I know that when I came in for the interview into Coworkly, I could see that it was a safe space. You guys followed all the protocols. Everyone in the community is so lovely and I just felt really safe and at home when I got here. So I really had really no fears coming in, and yeah, it just worked out perfectly.
I was a little nervous coming in at first.
Yeah.
After we locked down, I'd have to come in and check the mail and things like that. But after like a week, I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah. It feels great. It's just funny because I've only worked here during COVID. So it's just funny that I worked here for so long. I feel like, and it's been in this context of the world, and I don't know what it's like to work in a co-working space or at Coworkly outside of COVID. So you got hired before COVID. What was that like?
Well, for me, it was a huge change coming out of the restaurant industry. I came here to learn how to do all kinds of new things and meet new people and just learn and absorb everything. And the main thing that you're missing out on right now is the like much more interaction from people. And I feel so bad you're missing out on free lunch day. That is like, for any of our like old timers who are listening to this, like someone like Jevin, like Pies Day from Aladdin's Bakery or the Freshie Day. I would have to go pick up the salads just down the street on Richmond Road and bring them here and like set up all the little bowls, and everyone would have fun dishing out their food buffet style. And we can't do that anymore. So it's really too bad. At least people are still coming in and they're still hanging out and chatting, but it's just the level of interaction you're missing out on so much right now.
I know, I'm sad, but I have hope for the future.
We'll get back there one day. And the really cool thing about the free lunch day, it was like I would be encouraged to pull people away from being like scared little introverts like myself and be like, hey, come on to the table. We've got pies today, or we've got salad today. This is so-and-so. I want you to meet them because I think you have a great time chatting about this, or you might actually be able to help them with this project. And you're kind of missing out on maybe the matchmaker role that we are here. And these lunch and learns, we would sometimes have a guest speaker come in, or one of our members would be presenting a topic just to keep everyone stimulated and entertained. And a really cool thing that we got to host here were 2 practice TED Talks. JP, one of our members from SparkPath, he actually presented at TEDx Canada last March. And a really, really cool perk of the job is I was sent there on assignment to go and be his personal cheerleader.
So cute.
It was amazing. There were this was at the beginning of March too. And there were 500 people crowded into this auditorium. And it was my job to hand out business cards and mingle with people. And I was just like, wow, this is really cool and overwhelming at the same time. And then, 2 weeks later, the pandemic shut all the fun down. I was
from one extreme to the other
on a roll here. And Westboro had just filled up all of its offices, and it was just a time where things were really picking up, and I'd have people tapping me on my shoulder, can you help me book a meeting room? I need this, I need that. And things were picking up so much, and then poof, all stopping.
Yeah. Pretty wild. And what was that like you said in March, going to TEDx Canada and everything, and then you went into lockdown. What was I know we're technically in lockdown now, but it's not the same. What was it going in for you, going to work every day at Coworkly, and then you're working from home? What was that like, especially in the beginning?
It was honestly so disheartening and confusing. And the thing I struggled the most with was having enough to do during the day. I was still working the 9-to-5 schedule, but there's just not enough that I could do. My role is it's an important role, but it's so small compared to what Mayor does. And there's just a lot of things that I can't help him with because it's all business related. And really all I could do was just learn about this new software we had for our CRM, get as acclimated to that as possible, and reach out to our members, check on them, try to say good morning to people on Slack every day. And that was fun, but I kind of think maybe I annoy people doing that every morning. Nobody, if you're not a morning person, you don't really want to see me. No. That's why I go to work and my husband is still asleep at home. But
So
it
funny.
was just, it was hard feeling helpless and not having enough to do.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I could still come in and check on the place, looking to see if there was mail, make sure our plants are okay.
Yes.
And there were a few people who were staying in the space if it was absolutely necessary, maybe three people. Um, but I had a hard time during lockdown. And
Yeah.
to be honest, when we heard that lockdown was happening again, I think it was Boxing Day, I was so mad. I was like, what's going to happen with this one? Like,
Yeah.
am I going to have to stay home? So I'm glad that I can still come in here every single day and get dressed up and do my hair and
Yes.
put on lipstick for a video like this. Like,
Yes. It's so good. Like you really take it for granted being able to go outside
oh,
every day, but
yeah,
yeah, like in lockdown, it's hard to feel like you have a purpose. And I feel like a lot of
yeah,
people struggled with that when it first started all in March 2020, like finding a purpose every day. And that's,
mhm,
I don't know, for me, it was pretty difficult, but like for me, I focused on just like growing
mhm,
myself in terms of like I was taking Skillshare courses and kind of setting up a schedule for myself throughout the day. I'd put like an hour towards job search or an hour towards like self-development throughout the day
mhm.
because I didn't have anything to do. I had no job, so like most
Yeah.
people.
And I remember
um,
you telling me all this in your
yeah.
in your interview. I was like,
Yes.
ooh, she's
Yeah.
a go-getter.
Yes, I am organized. So it was really hard to have such a disarray in life. I'm like, I thrive in organization and like having a purpose. So anyway, it was crazy.
Mhm. Let's actually talk about the reason why we really needed to have a community manager in here. We make coffee for people now. Like we are actual baristas for people,
Yes,
and
we
we
are.
have the background and training for it. No one's allowed to touch our kitchens anymore.
No.
So poor Mayor, like he's trying to do a million things and
I
work on the
know.
computer and focus on marketing, and he to be interrupted by someone needing coffee, like you don't want to say no, but it's like
Yeah.
I kind of need someone over here to do all the like the little things. Like
Yes.
we need to hire someone fast.
Yeah, it honestly worked out so perfectly because I was a barista and a waitress before. So making the transition to this, it kind of fit in with it aligned with me very well because there's a
Mhm.
lot of like organizational and creative aspects of it. But the reason he was looking for someone who was in the service industry or customer service is because this role is a lot about customer service, which is
Oh
great because
yeah.
I know a lot of people in the hospitality industry feel kind of trapped or like um, there's such an emphasis in Ottawa, especially if you're in Ottawa, a lot of people have government jobs and it's
Mhm.
hard to get a job outside of the hospitality industry. And you kind of feel trapped, like no one wants you because all you've done is work in customer
Mhm.
service. So it
Yeah.
was really refreshing to have like an employer seeking out that because they saw the value in an individual that had that experience working in
Mhm.
customer service because a lot of people don't see the value in that, but the customer service employees like go through so much and they have a wide array of
Yeah.
skills. So it was great to feel like valued for the
Yes.
skills that I had, and B, it was like a great transition because
Mhm.
I started working here and I was still making people coffee, chatting and serving them, and like obviously doing other things, but it felt like a very natural transition for me.
Yeah, like to me, it feels like home because I managed a restaurant for 10 years and I don't at all look down on have like make me a coffee. I
Yes.
would love to. Like
Yes.
it feels good. Like service
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yeah, people feel awkward. They're like, "Oh, is it okay if you make me a coffee?" I'm like, "I love doing that." So
Yeah.
honestly, I don't want you to make your own coffee. I want to make it because I love it. So it's fine.
Mhm.
Don't feel awkward. It's great.
Yeah, I tease everyone here. I'm like, my favorite show is Downton Abbey. Please let me bring you coffee on a tray. I don't mind at all. I'm not too busy. Like I have, other important jobs like making videos and overseeing all kinds of different things and reaching out to
Yeah.
people. But I always have 2 seconds to make someone a cup of coffee.
Yeah. And it's just a great way to connect with people and like build a sense of community, which I
Mhm.
think is so like I don't know. It's great. It's really unique to Coworkly, and I feel like we have such a cute, lovely little community, and we all connect. And
I know.
I just
I
can't wait
love
for things to
crossing
go back to
over
normal.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess we should probably wrap it up unless you have any more questions for me.
No, I think we covered it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm glad we at least have a vaccine to look forward to. It's going to
Yes.
take a while. We're still going to be doing the mask thing for quite some time, but we'll just have to be patient.
Yeah.
And our next topic, we'll schedule that soon, but we need to talk about co-working in Ottawa. Ottawa,
Yes.
co-working is a thing.
Yep. Yes,
And
it
we will
is.
tell you all about it because
Yep.
from the two of us, everyone like telling people about our new jobs, like what is co-working?
Yes.
No idea.
You guys will find out soon because we're going to do a podcast on it. So stay tuned.
Yes, and follow us on all of our social media, and you won't even have to research anything.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Kaylee. I'll let you get back to your day, and I think it's lunchtime for me. I'm not sure if you got yours.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.